Good morning or good afternoon to those of you joining us from other time zones. Welcome to the 2025 Capstone Conference, hosted by UC San Diego's Rady School of Management and the Master of Professional Accountancy program. I'm Jim Diop, its Executive Director of the MPAc program. Joined by me today is my colleague and co-instructor, Professor Menes Intigue Gum. We're also joined by our exceptional TAs, Stacy Kyung and Seda Ula, whose leadership and support have been instrumental throughout this capstone experience. Over the next 2 days, you'll hear boardroom-ready insights from a remarkable group of graduate students, the product of rigorous research and focused preparation, and some pretty good teaming with colleagues in the profession. This year's theme, Investing in the Future, Building Resilience and Sustainable Growth, highlights how boards navigate strategy, oversight, and innovation in an increasingly complex world. Student panels will tackle AI in mergers and acquisitions, ESG assurance, blockchain governance, audit ethics, and more, all grounded in SEC and PCAOB guidance with real-world takeaways for boardrooms and leadership teams. We're very grateful to our key supporters over the year, including PwC, Deloitte, EY, KPMG, Moss Adams, RSM, and BDO, as well as many others. Now, my recommendation to you all in our audience, close out your tabs on your computer, put on your best headphones, and join us in celebrating learning leadership and the future of the profession. Welcome to our 2025 Capstone Conference. Let us begin. Our next panel, the topic will be on smart contracts and M&A, governance, risk, and oversight of boards. According to a recent 2025 PwC survey, smart contracts now underlie over $100 billion in global M&A transactions annually. Yet audit readiness remains one of the top concerns for CFOs and its directors. This session explores how boards, especially audit committees, can prepare for the rising use of smart contracts in M&A. The panel will analyze automation risks, legal reversibility, blockchain-enabled execution, and how frameworks such as COSO apply and sometimes fall short in this new environment. Real-world examples will be used to underscore key vulnerabilities and governance imperatives. At this time, I am delighted to welcome Manny Castaneda to our virtual stage here at the Rady School of Management. Manny will be presenting alongside his colleagues. Manny, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Jim, for the warm welcome, and good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here today. My name is Manuel Castaneda III, and I'm the team conference speaker. We're excited to present our capstone topic, smart contracts in M&A, governance, risk, and oversight for the board. In other words, smart contracts are changing how mergers and acquisition deals get done. Faster, clearer, and more efficient thanks to blockchain. But with less reliance on traditional lawyers or banks, boards and audit committees have to rethink how they manage risk and stay aligned. It's a big shift, but also a big opportunity to lead smarter, more secure deals. We're excited to dive into insights that really matter in today's digital deal world. Here is a quick look at our agenda. We'll begin by introducing our panel, followed by a clear statement of our purpose. Next, we'll move into the definition and framing of smart contracts. We'll then explore the key responsibilities of corporate oversight groups as they navigate these emerging technologies. From there, we'll cover the legal and accounting frameworks that apply to smart contracts and share a real-world case example to illustrate how they're being applied in practice. We'll also walk through the major decision points companies must consider when evaluating implementation. And finally, we'll wrap up with our recommendations and a brief conclusion to summarize key takeaways. But before we dive into the main content, allow me to introduce our panel. We are all students in the Master Professional Accountancy program at UC San Diego's Rady School of Management. Our team brings together diverse backgrounds as each of us contributes to a distinct lens on the role of smart contracts in corporate governance. Let's briefly highlight our team members. Jeremy, as our team captain, holds a degree in accounting and economics from the University of Oregon, and he is pursuing his CPA and a career in professional services. A little about myself. I graduated from UC San Diego with a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Economics with a minor in Finance. And after graduation, I'll be joining Ernst & Young in Los Angeles as an Assurance Audit Associate. Ninja, as our team project manager and secretary, studied finance and accounting at the Chinese University of Hong Kong, and she is eager to contribute to the future of financial decision making. Joy, as our team creative leader who studied accounting at Wenzhou King University, she has accepted a return offer from PwC Shanghai and is looking forward to continued international research opportunities. Joey, as our team social media specialist, earned his accounting degree from Wenzhou King University as well, and he will begin his financial management role at Libby in China after graduation. Yisha, as our team research analyst, holds a business administration degree with a minor in accounting from Macau University of Science and Technology. She is currently working on accounting research projects back in China. And for our final team member, Lynn, as our team logistics and technical specialist, has 2 bachelor's degrees in environmental engineering and business administration from Beijing Institute of Technology. With nearly a decade of internet industry experience, Lynn will begin her audit career at a local firm in San Diego and pursue CPA certification. And together we've collaborated on this capstone to explore the intersection of emerging technology and governance. And we're excited to share our insights with you today. And now for the purpose of our presentation. It is to help corporate boards and audit committees understand the growing role of smart contracts in M&A. These blockchain-based tools offer speed and efficiency, but also introduce new oversight challenges. Our goal is to unpack both the promise and the risks of this technology and offer practical guidance for responsible governance in a decentralized environment. Blockchain is not just a technology, it's a new way of building trust in digital systems. To understand smart contracts, we need to start with the technology behind them, blockchain. Blockchain is a decentralized ledger. Think of it as a secure shared database that records transactions in blocks. These blocks are cryptographically linked, making them tamper-proof and transparent. Smart contracts are programs that live on the blockchain. They automatically execute actions when predefined conditions are met. No manual intervention, no third parties. In the context of M&A, this means agreements like payments, asset transfers, or regulatory filings can now be automated. This drastically reduces human error, speeds up timelines, and improves auditability. So why should corporate boards and audit committees care? Smart contracts offer major benefits: faster execution, lower transaction costs, and greater transparency. But these same features come with new types of risk. For instance, once a smart contract is deployed, it's difficult and sometimes impossible to change. If something goes wrong, you can't just revise the terms or renegotiate. There are also legal gray areas. Does smart contracts always reflect the party's true intent? Who is responsible if the code fails? As these tools gain momentum, boards have a responsibility to modernize their oversight frameworks, to manage not just the benefits, but the potential legal, technical, and reputational risks as well. That brings us to the core questions we'll explore today. First, what's fueling the momentum behind smart contracts and M&A, and how can organizations harness their full potential? Second, how can boards and audit committees lead the way in overseeing automated code-driven transactions effectively? And third, what governance models can help companies embrace decentralization while staying resilient and accountable? These questions frame the rest of our discussion, and we'll use them to guide our case studies, risk analysis, and final recommendations. With that foundation in place, we'll now transition into our next section, as Ninja will walk us through the definition and framing of smart contracts and how they compare to traditional agreements in M&A. Ninja, please take it away.
Thank you, Manny. Now let's move on definition and framing. I will compare smart and traditional contracts, highlight key features, and show how smart contracts apply across different M&A stages. I will also touch on their benefits as well as risks across the whole process. Before we look at the smart contracts in detail, it helps to compare them to traditional ones. Traditional contracts are written in legal language, interpreted by people, and enforced through courts. They rely on trust and third parties. Smart contracts, by contrast, are written in code, run automatically, and enforced by decentralized systems. Once deployed, they follow preset logic without negotiation or interpretation. This shift brings efficiency and transparency, but also raises challenges like inflexibility and legal uncertainty. With that context, let's see what makes smart contracts unique. Based on definitions from leading authorities such as the Commodity Future Trading Commission, the International Organization for Standardization, the EU Blockchain Observatory, and the Ethereum White Paper, smart contracts generally exhibit four key features. First, self-executing. They automatically carry out agreement terms once preset conditions are met. Second, blockchain-based. Smart contracts are stored and run on blockchains, making them very decentralized. Third, automation and trustlessness. They enforce obligations without intermediaries, reducing the need for trusted third parties. Fourth, direct control of digital assets. Smart contracts can directly manage and transfer digital assets, enabling instant actions. For boards and decision makers, this means traditional agreements can now become programmable. Processes like verification, transfer, and compliance checks can be embedded into code, making transactions more efficient. Now let's look at how smart contracts work in different M&A stages. First, declaration of intent. Think of this phase as the handshake before the deal. A smart contract here is like a digital bouncer. It checks IDs and logs who's involved from the very beginning. It helps ensure transparency and builds trust early, especially when multiple parties are circling a potential deal. But let me ask, what happens if that bouncer lets the wrong person in? If the identity check fails, unauthorized parties may slip into the process, exposing us to risk before the real deal even begins. Next, the transaction agreement. Now we're drafting the real deal. Think of this as building a house. Every brick, which means clause in this context, matters. Smart contracts help by providing a pre-approved blueprint, speeding up the construction. It saves time and cost. But here's a question. What if every house had to follow the same blueprint regardless of terrain or family needs? Over-sanitization can cause us to overlook key custom terms, possibly leading to legal gaps or mismatches. The third step would be signing. Traditionally, signing is when everyone gathers to put pen to paper. But with smart contracts, it's more like using fingerprint ID or facial recognition. It's digital, secure, and instantaneous. It boosts efficiency and security. But would you trust the system completely if you didn't understand how it works? Relying on blockchain means we need confidence in the underlying technology, because if it's compromised, so is the whole agreement. Step 4 would be settlement. Once signed, it's time for money and assets to move. Smart contracts can be like Venmo for companies. Assets transfer automatically, no middleman needed. It's fast and trusted. But automation without human oversight can be risky. What if there's a bug in the code? The transfer may go to the wrong party, and unlike Venmo, there's no undo button in smart contracts. Step 5 would be closing. At closing, smart contracts are like referees in a match. They check if the rules were followed and then blow the whistle to end the game. They allow deals to proceed even when trust is thin. But let's ask, can a referee handle a chaotic game with unpredictable twists? If a contract logic is very rigid, it might fail when things don't go exactly as planned. The last step would be post-transaction obligations. After the deal closes, some terms continue. These can include milestone payments, earnouts, or compliance filings. Smart contracts can monitor conditions like revenue targets and trigger actions when needed. This helps keep agreements on track. However, smart contracts only follow what was programmed. If the business changes or laws shift, the contract will still follow the original logic unless it was built to adapt. In conclusion, while smart contracts significantly enhance the speed, transparency, and automation of M&A transactions, they also call for thoughtful design and oversight. Challenges such as identity verification, code precision, and legal clarity remain. But these are not roadblocks. They are opportunities for better governance and smarter implementation. With the right framework in place, smart contract can be not only efficient, but also reliable, secure, and scalable for complex business deals.
Thank you, Ninja. That was great for laying out the structure and key features of smart contracts. Now that we understand their technical framework, Joy will explain the key responsibilities that fall on CFOs, audit committees, and boards when these tools are implemented. Joy, please take it away.
Okay, thank you, Manny. So let's start with the board of directors. Their role is to set clear governance expectation and update the company's policies to reflect the new technology risks. They should also request regular updates from management about how smart contracts are being, even so they may not understand each details, but they must still provide the strong oversight here. Next, we have the auditing committees. Their job is to expand the auditing to include smart contract design and access control. They must also make sure there are backup plans in case the code fails or something happen. It's no longer enough to audit just the financial data. We have to audit the technologies behind it too. Finally, let's talk about the CFOs. CFO need to support smart contracts term with accounting standards. So before any contract goes live, they should access cost benefit factors and check the quality of the input data. Because no matter how advanced the technology is, bad data leads to the bad results. So to sum up, smart contracts are automated, but they don't replace my responsibility. The board, auditing committee, the CFO must work together to ensure these technologies are used safely, effectively, and ethically.
Thank you, Joy. We'll be hearing from Joy a little bit towards the end, and thank you for that clear breakdown of oversight responsibilities. As you mentioned, even with automation, strong human governance is essential. I'll now pass it to Jeremy, who will discuss how legal and accounting frameworks support these responsibilities. Take it away, Captain.
Thank you, Manny. As we continue exploring the role of smart contracts in M&A, I want to shift our attention from the technology itself to the legal and accounting frameworks that will ultimately determine its success. Let's begin with the legal foundation. Despite their digital format, smart contracts are still contracts, and courts will expect them to satisfy traditional contract elements. At its core, a contract, smart or not, still needs a real agreement between people. One side makes an offer, the other side agrees to it, and both understand what they are getting in return. The mere execution of code does not establish a legally binding agreement. Just because the software runs a transaction doesn't mean that the people behind it actually agreed to what happened. Courts will not recognize a smart contract based solely on code execution. They will also look at whether there was a clear understanding and mutual agreement of the terms of the contract. There is also the matter of digital signature laws in the US under statutes like the eSign Act and the UETA. Smart contracts must demonstrate a reliable way to link actions executed to a specific party. Not all blockchain signatures will meet these legal thresholds, and that's something firms need to be extremely careful about. And what happens if there's a coding error, flawed logic, or an unauthorized deployments? These events can lead to legal disputes, or worse, create new liabilities. As these risks are even greater when smart contracts operate across jurisdictions, where the applicable law isn't always satisfied unless it's been explicitly coded in. This is important to recognize, as some countries, like Germany, for instance, require a qualified electronic signature tied to a government-certified identity provider. If that requirement is overlooked, you're looking at an unenforceable digital contract. That's why legal design and human oversight remains critical. These are not self-enforcing agreements. They must still function within the bounds of the law. Now let's turn to the accounting side of the equation, where smart contracts can create measurable, practical improvements in how M&A deals are executed and monitored. There are three high-impact areas I want to highlight. First, smart contracts can help automate the post-closing adjustments. These are the reconciliations that happen after the deal closes, such as working capital true-ups or earn-out payments. Right now, these adjustments are often manual, slow, and subject to interpretation. Smart contracts allow us to build in predefined financial metrics that automatically trigger the code execution when conditions are met. This means fewer disputes, less administrative burden, and the consistent application of deal terms. Secondly, they can dramatically improve our transparency. One of the biggest pain points in M&A transactions is the lack of visibility. Whether it's escrow release schedules, covenant compliance, or other post-closing obligations, the sheer number of contracts in M&A transactions oftentimes make it difficult to keep track of everything. Smart contracts built on blockchain infrastructure provide real-time, tamper-proof records that allow both sides of an M&A deal and the auditors to track milestones with confidence. This will reduce friction in the due diligence process, improve the internal governance, and speed up reporting. Thirdly, I want to look at how they streamline asset and liability transfers. While these steps in M&A often involve multiple teams, fragmented systems, and long delays, instead of waiting days for teams to sign off on their work and for the systems to update, smart contracts can move things forward the moment key steps are completed. This means real-time updates to financial systems, fewer reconciliation errors, and faster consolidation, all of which are crucial in the post-deal integration phase. To sum it up, we're not just talking about a new tool. We're talking about transforming the post-deal process. Smart contracts offer automation that reduces manual effort and speeds up execution, transparency that enhances auditability and builds trust, and integration that improves the accuracy and timeliness of reporting. For the board, this translates to lower risk, greater control, and faster realization of deal value.
Thank you, Jeremy, for highlighting the importance of strong legal design and financial integration. With that context in mind, let's take a look at how these principles play out in practice through a real-world example presented by Joey. Take it away, Joey.
Thanks, Manny. Now I would like to talk about a case example. Let's start with two simple questions. How many of you remember playing video game or watching your favorite creators back in the day? Do you know that when you pay for the favorite products in the first place, creators and platforms are confused about the complexity and the delay in revenue distribution? I want to share with you exciting advancement in the game industry, a collaboration between two tech giants, Microsoft Xbox and EY, to develop a cutting-edge blockchain-based smart contract platform. Delays or confusion when it comes to royalty or payments for digital content is a widespread issue in the game industry. Payments are often delayed by weeks or months. Creators struggle with transparency in revenue sharing, and errors can lead to disputes. These inefficiencies can hurt relationships and undermine the creative ecosystem. This is where Microsoft, Xbox, and EY come into play. They have partnered to develop a blockchain platform designed to tackle this issue head-on. This platform leverages smart contracts and blockchain technology to create a transparent, automated, and highly efficient system for managing royalties, rights, and revenue distribution. But how does it work? At its core, this system replaces traditional contract management and payment process with smart contracts on the blockchain. When a digital asset, be a piece of music, character skin, or an in-game purchase, gets sold or used, the system automatically calculates the earnings for each involved party based on pre-agreed terms in the contract. This is not only faster, but they ensure accuracy and fairness in every transaction. Here is where we're getting even more interesting. All transaction data is recorded on the blockchain. This means creators, developers, and other stakeholders can access real-time data on their earnings. No more waiting weeks or months for payment. No more trusting someone else to get the calculation right. Everything is transparent and verifiable. It's all there in real time on the blockchain. The advantage of the system are clear. By using smart contracts, Microsoft, Xbox, and EY are solving several long-standing challenges in the game industry. Transparency and trust. Players, developers, and creators can all trust that their royalties are being accurately calculated and paid in real time with a full audit trail. Efficiency. Payment cycle, which once took weeks or months, are now completed in minutes. The system automatically checks and processes payments, which means fewer errors, fewer delays, and fewer disputes. Compliance and governance. By using blockchain's immutable ledger, the system significantly reduces the chance for a fraud or misstatement. It also ensures that all parties are in compliance with contract terms and regulatory requirements. This isn't just about making life easier for gaming developers, it's also a game changer for the entire industry. By automating what were once manual error-prone process, Microsoft and EY are enabling a more scalable, efficient, and transparent digital economy. Now, let's zoom out for a moment and think about the broader implications. This isn't just the one-off solution for Xbox. It has the potential to revolutionize other areas of digital content and even set the stage for the growing world of NFTs. And the metaverse. Imagine a world where any digital asset, be it a piece of art, a song, or even virtual land, can be bought, sold, and traded seamlessly, with smart contracts automatically executing transactions and ensuring fair revenue sharing for all creators. But beyond technological innovation, this project represents something even more profound, a shift in how we view trust, transparency, and fairness in the digital transactions. By making these elements central to the gaming industry, Microsoft and EY are paving the way for a new era of content creation and distribution. In conclusion, this blockchain-powered smart contract system is more than just a technological improvement. It's a catalyst for a more efficient, transparent, and fair gaming ecosystem. It's a vision for the future of content creation and revenue sharing, and it's a powerful example of how two industry leaders can work together to shape the future.
That was perfect. Thank you, Joey, for that engaging case study. And now that we've seen what implementation can look like in the real world, Yisha will walk us through the risk management considerations that boards must plan for. Yisha, please take it away.
Thanks, Manny. Let's now shift to what's often the most uncomfortable part of adopting new technology: oversight without understanding the code. Unlike traditional contracts written in legal language, smart contracts are built in programming code. That means most board members and audit committees are being asked to cover something they can easily read, interpret, or amend. And that's a real governance challenge. So, what can boards do? First, demanding transparency through translation. Every smart contract should be accompanied by plain language annotations with complete information, just like a financial footnote that explain what the code does when it executes and what triggers it. Visual charts and step-by-step diagrams can also help the board visualize how these contracts behave in real-world transactions. For example, we can see in the picture there are AST chart. It's like a tree, breaking down the code into components, and it clearly shows how they are connected. With the addition of plain language annotation, isn't that a lot easier for boards to understand than staring at lines of raw code? Second, you must ensure access to technical expertise. Whether that's an in-house team or a trusted external advisor, this becomes especially important when managing technical and digital risks. According to Marsh's Business Insurance Trends Report, it's not uncommon for details to fall through the cracks when a larger, more sophisticated business acquires a smaller one. That's why the audit committee must conduct enhanced due diligence and be equipped to evaluate whether a smart contract is secure, correctly scoped, and auditable. Without that lens, you are flying blind. Now, let's talk about strategic risk, something boards are uniquely responsible for. Smart contracts execute automatically, with no ability to pause, renegotiate, or override once deployed. That rigidity might be efficient, but it can also be dangerous in fast-moving mergers and acquisition situations. Imagine a scenario where a smart contract schedules a payment on day 30 of an acquisition, exactly as programmed, but on day 29, the CFO uncovers a material discrepancy. With a traditional agreement, you delay and renegotiate. How about a smart contract? The money moves unless it's hard-coded to wait. That's a strategic blind spot. So, what's the fix? Start with stress testing. Every smart contract should be run through real-world scenarios, edge cases, exception handling, failure simulations, so you can catch weaknesses before they go live. And this testing should be documented and transparent to stakeholders. Second, boards must require a modification mechanism and a business continuity plan. That includes identifying which contracts are critical, how updates are requested and approved, and what safeguards ensure business can continue. If something breaks, if a contract fails, can you override it? If not, you need a backup plan before approval. Meanwhile, the company should provide employees with sufficient pre-incident and crisis response training. This not only keeps smart contracts aligned with companies' true strategic goals during execution, but also promote a proactive culture, one where adaptability is valued and the reporting incidents is encouraged. Now on to compliance. Here's the hard truth. There are no unified legal framework governing smart contracts. That means enforcement can vary dramatically by jurisdiction, and court precedence is limited. If something goes wrong, will a judge even recognize the contract? Maybe not. In addition, election in 2024 signal uncertainty in the regulatory environment for businesses in 2025 and beyond. Areas where new regulation is expected include blockchain, artificial intelligence, and data privacy. These uncertainties create liability. So boards must proactively integrate legal, auditor, and compliance teams into the smart contracts design process, not after deployment, but from the very beginning. Even though the technology is new, many existing laws still apply, like data privacy regulations, AI governance rules, and the business continuity statutes. Finally, establish a risk management framework. Define what your company can tolerate, what red flags to watch for, when breaches will be reported, and what liability should be undertaken. Doing so not only protects the business, it builds trust with regulators, auditors, and investors. We will soon expect board fluency in these issues. To sum it up, smart contracts are powerful, but only if the board keeps control. That means demanding transparency, planning for exceptions, and embedding governance from day one, not after something goes wrong.
Thank you, Isha, for outlining the legal, operational, and strategic risks we must be mindful of. Lynn will now walk us through how to structure design points and pilot testing to guide smart contracts adoption responsibly. This is a way to help the board decide whether to proceed with smart contracts and provide methods to increase the likelihood of success. Lynn, please take it away.
Thank you, Manny. To support the board in evaluating whether smart contracts are suitable for our company and to ensure a smooth implementation, we have developed a proposed timeline. First, we recommend a 6-month preparation phase, during which we will also assess key design points and evaluate the implementation. Next, we propose another 6-month period for enhancement and reassessment, with the goal of meeting all requirements necessary for potential rollout. Following that, we plan a 12-month pilot phase, where smart contracts will be tested on a small scale. This will allow us to gather practical insights and refine our approach. These 3 phases will lay a solid foundation of a broader organization-wide adoption in the future. Our group believes that finding the key decision points, giving each one a weight, and scoring them can really support the board in deciding whether or not to adopt smart contracts. Also, if the company decided to go ahead, this method helps us know what area we should to improve. First, we listed the important things to consider. For example, how will smart contracts match the company's goal? Or how much money they may save? At the same time, we should not ignore the legal risks of smart contracts, as well as their scalability, auditability, and regulator compliance. We give higher weight to the more important ones. Then, we give each item a score. For example, if the company is doing digital transformation and cares a lot about cutting costs and working more efficiently, this area where smart contracts offer clear advantages. We would give a high score, like 5 for that point. If the company doesn't have the technology skills needed for smart contracts development, it means it's not ready in this area, so we will score it a 1. Once we finish this analysis, we will get a total score, which helps us decide whether to move forward with smart contracts. And the score shows us where we need to improve in order to increase the chances of success. After we will score each factor and decided to move forward with implementing smart contracts, we will clearly see which area needs improvement. Based on this, we will create a step-by-step plan. We will multiply the weights by the score and score the results. If, for example, the lowest score is in technology readiness, then the board needs to improve its tech capabilities, either by hiring technical staff or outsourcing parts of the development. At the same time, we will need to quickly build a process for code review. We will build 3 communities: an audit community, a technology community, and a compliance community. These communities will operate under the supervision of the board and work to enhance performance across key evaluation areas. As we make improvements, the scores will go up, and we will eventually meet the requirements for reliable smart contracts implementation. To begin, we recommend starting with small-scale smart contracts and launching them in a controlled environment. This allows us to test the foundation, monitor risks, and make improvements without major disruptions. Next, we will analyze the pilot results to identify best practice, including effective coding standards, governance models, and strategies for managing risks. Then, we will evaluate scalability and future readiness. From this process, we expect to get refined contract templates and clearer development directions, paving the way for broader implementation. We will start with smart projects, just like my teammates mentioned earlier. This will be simple smart contracts that we can launch quickly to gather and analyze feedback. Along the way, we will analyze audit points, risks areas, and potential compliance issues. Based on that, we will keep on refining, relaunching, and reanalyzing. Over time, the smart contracts we handle will grow in scale and complexity, becoming more safe as well. Different departments will become more familiar with the technology and co-work more effectively. These 2 components will effectively help the board in making informed decisions and ensure the successful implementation of smart contracts.
Thank you, Lynn, for that practical roadmap to evaluate smart contracts before implementation. Now, Joy will walk us through our team's final recommendations. Joy, please take it away one more time.
Okay, now let's move on the recommendation and the best practice. Let's start with the COSO backchain framework. You might already be familiar with the COSO. It's a widely used internal control model. Now, when we apply this to smart contracts, the idea is we need to build governance into the system from day one, not after it breaks. And we need to make sure that logical writing in code actually aligns with the business rules and control expectations. Next, smart contract auditing checklist. This is all about asking the right questions. For example, would the smart contracts code review independently? Is there version control in place? And most importantly, if something goes wrong, do we have the backup plan? There is not just an IT question, they are audit question. And they must matter a lot when things go wrong. Lastly, let's talk about the internal policies. A smart contract shouldn't just be written and posted by same person. There needs to be clear rules on who can create, modify, and put them. Before anything goes live, there should be testing for documentations like using case, assumptions, and limitations. And finally, a form sign-off from legal, IT, and finance. That's why we make sure the contract is not only technological functional, but also legally and financial sound.
Thank you, Joy, for that thoughtful governance recommendations. And to conclude our presentation, I'll now summarize the key message we hope you'll take away with today. As we've explored today, smart contracts are reshaping how M&A deals are executed. bringing speed, transparency, and efficiency to the forefront. But with that innovation comes real-world responsibility. Legal uncertainties, technical complexities, and governance risks don't go away. They just take new forms. If there's one message I leave you with today, it's this. Governance isn't a back-end function. It's a strategic advantage. Boards, audit committees, and CFOs must lead from the front, embedding oversight, anticipating risk, and shaping how technology serves the deal, not the other way around. I also want to take a moment to thank my amazing team for the insight, effort, and collaboration they brought throughout this quarter. None of this would have been possible without you. And a very special thank you to Jim. Your guidance this year helped shape not just this project, but how we think as accounting professionals. Thank you all for spending your time with us today. We hope this session sparked new ideas and empowered you to lead with confidence in this evolving digital landscape. Thank you.
Manny, thank you. And as you just said, thank you all to the members of your team. Jeremy, Joy, Ninja, Yisha, and Lynn, that was an outstanding presentation. Great content, great delivery. Really got us all thinking in the audience today about how important this technology is and what it can mean to future transactions for companies that are going through these M&A deals. At this point in time, I want to just tell you that you really helped us understand the issues, not just the tool itself, but also some of the legal gaps that are out there. It's one of those things when you have technology simply outpacing where the laws exist today. The replay for this session will be made available on Rady's YouTube channel in a couple of days. So feel free, if you have the chance, to come back and replay the video at your own time. The presentation materials, if you should like it, can reach out to us over at Rady, and we'll be happy to provide you a copy of it. Thank you again for your leadership and insight in today's Capstone Conference. Everybody have a wonderful day. Thank you again.